Okay, welcome to Launch Your Second Act podcast. I'm so excited to have our next guest on. Her name is Jaimie Abbott. She's an award-winning media professional and international keynote speaker and has spent 2 decades in the industry working as a radio and TV journalist, political media advisor, managing director of her own public speaking and media training company, and a communications advisor for the Royal Australian Air Force. She was elected as a councillor on the Port Stephens Council for over 4 years, up until 2021. Jaimie has worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, influencers, and coaches to help them get their name out there in the lucrative world of professional speaking. And Jaimie now owns an award-winning business called Paid to Speak, where she helps you build your speaker's profile, put together engaging and valuable keynote speeches, and teaches everything you need to know to become a highly paid speaker or presenter. And through her trainings, Jaimie has helped her clients earn hundreds of thousands of dollars in paid speaking gigs. She's a mum of 2 beautiful boys and lives in Newcastle with her husband. However, Jaimie is currently living and working in Jamaica for the United Nations, and she travels back and forth to Australia for a role she could not resist. And a fun fact about Jaimie, she was once the Northern New South Wales karaoke champion. So welcome the fascinating and talented Jaimie Abbott.
Hi, Angela. Thank you so much for having me. You've certainly done your research there in identifying that little quirky fact.
Yeah, I love starting with a quirky fact. So karaoke champion, tell me quickly a little bit about that.
Oh, I used to sing like in my early 20s or teenage years, early 20s. And I kind of got into karaoke comps and talent quests and won some money along the way. It's quite lucrative, the karaoke talent quest world. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I went
Really?
to the national championships on the Gold Coast and represented Northern New South Wales many years ago.
Oh, that's amazing. I love going to karaoke. I have to admit, I'm a bit of a karaoke girl myself. I do enjoy a few songs, building out a few songs in karaoke.
Don't we all?
Yeah, that's awesome. Wow. Okay. So I wanted to ask you first question, the United Nations. I know that when we spoke, you said it was like a role that you couldn't resist. You know, you offered this incredible position and opportunity in Jamaica. And I know that you travel back and forth. You're back in Australia now. So tell me a little bit about that role that you have there with the Nations in Jamaica.
Yeah, so it's for an agency called the International Seabed Authority, and it's based in Kingston, Jamaica, and it is kind of an agency of the UN. It's very independent, but it's a whole new world for me. I'm now 6 months in the 12-month contract, actually.
6 months already. Wow.
Yes, I know. It's crazy. So I'm back in Australia at the moment, but when I
Yes.
return in a couple of weeks, I think I'll be there. I think for at least 4 months, if not the whole 5 months of the duration of the contract. So it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity where I'm heading up the communications team. So I look
Yeah.
after, my team looks after videos, social media, the website, speeches, media liaison, anything that has a graphic or word in it, basically. And I'm learning a lot. And it's just one of those jobs that I could not say no to. Once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yes.
And I'm doing my business on the side, albeit it's hard working full time over there. And then I kind of devote every spare minute I have to doing my business on the side. So it doesn't just, fold. And
Yes,
luckily I'm
absolutely.
very fortunate to have still been running successful launches and my membership PR club on the side, which is very good.
That's fabulous. I know. Well, tell me a little bit about the business that you're running. I know it's called Paid to Speak. And was that like a natural progression for you to go from all the things that you've obviously been doing in your life, with all the media and the speaking, and then you started a business called Paid to Speak, and that came out of like wanting to be able to teach other people to communicate well and present on stage. Is that how it all came about for you?
Yeah, well, my course specifically is called Paid to Speak. And so I
Mhm.
have been in business now since 2013. So my business is 11 years old.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
originally set up as a service-based business where I would
Mhm.
coach people how to master media interviews and how to really nail their public speaking. And
Mhm.
so I would do that. And then along the way, I've been in politics and military, and I was a journalist and spent time in Afghanistan for 6 months. So I had my own sort of story to tell along the way pay as a keynote speaker.
Yes.
And I would sometimes, well, actually most of the time, I'm ashamed to admit, would speak for free. And I would think, oh, it's great exposure for my audience. There are female entrepreneurs there, and how awesome I get to speak in front of them. Sometimes I would charge a couple of hundred, maybe 1,000 here and there. And then it was 2 years ago now, just over 2 years ago, where I was asked to speak for a corporate client. And it was a really busy time of year. It was December. I know I had 2 toddlers. I was getting off council and my other half was running for council. It was just a really crazy time. And so I quoted the client 30,000 Australian dollars. And it was crazy. I thought they'll never accept that. I just don't have time in my diary to do this speaking gig. And it took them about 46 minutes to hit accept on the quote.
Wow.
And I realized then, oh my goodness, I have been undercharging all of these years. I have been
Yeah.
telling my clients to undercharge. So of
Yeah.
course I did the gig. I made time for it. And
Yes.
from there I created a course, which took about 5 months to put together. And I called it Paid to Speak. We've now had about 150 people go through the course in the last 2 years, less than 2 years. And it teaches people how to get paid to speak, where to find the gigs, how much to charge, all those sort of things, you know, your bio, your speaker's toolkit. You've done the course, of course. So
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
yeah, and so I'm really proud of that now. So I have that as my course, which I usually open the doors to twice a year. And then I have a membership on the back of that called PR Club.
The PR Club as well. Yeah. I know I actually joined your Pay to Speak, and I have to tell you, the content that you have in the back office is amazing. It's second to none. It's just great. So many times I've thought, oh, I need something on my website, and I wasn't sure how to communicate it. So I just go straight back into your back office, and there it was. So there's always really great content and information. So you can see that you've put a lot of work into that. So well done. It's a very good course that you offer for a lot of people.
Oh, thank
And
you
do you
so
find
much.
that you're welcome? You're welcome. It's awesome. Do you find that, like you said, it was $30,000 that somebody was going to pay you to be able to do a keynote? So then you realized, okay, there's money in this. This is a good career. You know, it's something that you package up your skills and you're able to present on stage, something that, you know, that people are going to pay very good money for. And are you finding that you're helping a lot of other people now be able to step on those stages and package up their expertise and be able to, you know, put themselves out there? And do you find that there's more work available for people right now to do that? There always is more, like they're looking at all the time for people to present on stages. Are you finding
Absolutely.
that?
Yeah, I mean, once I did that $30,000 gig, I kind of made a mental note to myself to never do any more gigs for less than 10K. And
Okay,
it's
right.
kind of this
Wow.
magical sort of thing that happened. Once I made that decision, I started attracting those types of gigs.
Yes.
And you do one of these, then someone in the audience will book you again for another thing coming up. You know, I've done some corporate gigs, and I've had someone in the audience come up and say, we've got a strategic managers planning day meeting coming up in a couple of months. Can you be our speaker for that? Or can you facilitate that day? And so once you kind of start doing one in that kind of league, it really opens up doors to do so many other ones of a high standard. And then you can get into the speaker bureaus and just really sort of position yourself at that high level. And now I'm in this world, I realize just how many speaking gigs there are available. And it's almost like there are more speaking gigs than there are speakers.
Yes.
And once people know about them, they start doing them, they start positioning and pitching themselves as a highly paid speaker, that so many more opportunities open up.
Yeah, that's so true. And I noticed when I was doing your course as well, how it's categorized, because you think that, oh, no, I don't know necessarily would people be interested in my expertise. But when you realize how many categories out there that you can slot into, and you can just almost tweak what you're saying to be able to really target market that audience as well. And you're very good at teaching that too.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's all about your target audience, because
Yes.
sometimes you think, even when I first started out, I thought, oh, I'm going to teach public relations skills. And you think that's going to be a winning keynote. But it's not until you start pitching that you realize, oh, actually, my target audience is a little bit different to this, or what I thought my target audience wanted to hear, they don't. They actually want to know how to public speak, not how to do their own PR. And so it's amazing. Once you nail that, you nail your target audience and you nail the keynote topic and the messages, It's
Yes.
just amazing how that really opens up so many opportunities when you're really on point with that messaging.
That's really good advice. And what would you say would be, just give me two strategies of how you help people overcome that fear of public speaking? Because I know so many people would say, what is your biggest fear? And, public speaking is right up there for a lot of people. So what are a couple of the strategies that you help people through to overcome that fear?
Oh, so there's so many. If you just want to, let me pick my top two. Well, I mean, it sounds so obvious, but rehearsing. So even my
Yeah.
top clients who have done hundreds, thousands of keynote speeches, they still rehearse with me. They still will either record themselves and then play it back and give it to me to critique, or we'll do a Zoom session the day before or the night before to really make sure that they are mastering their body language, their pitch and tone, their messaging, and all that sort of thing. So that really is probably my top tip. Gosh, so many other little things. I mean, just also remembering, because people do get nervous,
Yes.
remembering that your audience really is on your side and wants you to win. We have this fear of rejection. The audience is not going to like me. They're going to think this, they're going to think that. At the end of the day, you can't please everyone anyway. Not everyone is going to love you, but
So
you need
true.
to focus on the people that have come to listen to you with an open mind, and you are there to inspire them, to educate them, to motivate them.
Mm.
That's your job.
Yeah,
That's what you need to
exactly.
focus on, rather than, oh, what if they don't like me? And too often we think that, we all know what it's like to be in the audience, Angela, when
Yeah.
the speaker has struggled and how awful it makes
I
you
know.
feel. I feel for them. People don't want that. They
I
don't
feel,
want you to do
I
that.
know.
Yeah. And so I think it's
No,
important to
they want to
remember
feel.
that.
Yeah, I actually did a podcast recently, and it was about remembering about how I did when I went to America to speak on those talk shows about my book. And I remember he told me that one of these, big celebrities had just left the room. And the minute he did that, it just was like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This whole, all of this repetition of who am I? What have I got to offer? And in that moment, I had to shift because we were about to go live. And the first thing I thought of was, there's going to be one person out there that's going to hear my message, that is going to help them. And, how can I be of service to that person? Just focus on her. She's going to want that book and she's going to need this message. And I think sometimes when you take it off yourself and you're there to just focus on your message, then it just sort of gives you more confidence to be able to put your message forward without worrying about what anybody else is thinking about you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's your job, really.
Yes.
And the majority of people are there, wanting to learn from you. And I think the minute you realize that, it really does lift a lot of nerves and fears from you. I mean, I still get nervous, don't get me wrong. And I
Yeah.
have certainly done my fair share of political debates where the audience didn't want me to win. As soon as I
Oh,
walked in, they might be from a different side of politics.
yes.
But apart from that, the rest of these public speaking gigs, people have come there really wanting to learn from you, and don't
Yes.
lose sight of that. And when you really focus on that, you can feel a lot more comfortable and a lot more confident.
Do you also, I know that if it just put keynote speaking aside, because I know that's a whole other skill that you learn and, it takes a lot to be able to do that too. But I mean, you also help people just to communicate better, like with their product or online with their messaging, that type of thing. So, I mean, if you're in business these days, you have to be able to obviously put yourself online and put yourself out there. But I guess the key is this effective communication. So I know that you're very good at teaching this communication skills. So do you see people that come to you and they ask for help on communicating their message or their product or what they're offering? And do you see like such a change in them, like their self-worth grows, their confidence grows because they feel finally they're in a position to be able to step forward and be able to communicate on a level that they've never necessarily been able to do before?
Absolutely. And it's all mindset, Angela, as
Of
well.
course.
Like, once
Yeah.
you kind of instill that belief in themselves, the world's their oyster. And that's what it's about for me, because, the people who are scoring, people who've gone through paid to speak now and they're scoring these big gigs like 10K plus, they're not necessarily the best speakers. I'll
Sure.
happily say that they're not necessarily the most interesting, the best storytellers, the qualified ones, but they're putting themselves out there and they've got that confidence to do that, to pitch themselves and back themselves. and they're being rewarded to do that. And I find that so incredibly, I don't know, special for me to have that ability to be in that position to see these amazing subject matter experts in all different fields go out there and start charging their worth. I'm
Yes.
really passionate about that, particularly with women, because women tend to undervalue themselves. You know, we've made
Absolutely.
mistakes, we've had kids, I know, having two kids myself, I know the sacrifices that can make, and your time and your energy and everything when you're trying to build a business or build a career. You've worked for free, you've studied, all that sort of thing. So you've made those mistakes, you've built up all this knowledge in your head. Don't give that away for free.
No.
And sadly, I did that for too many years, where I
Yes.
would think, oh, I'll just get great exposure from this, or I might make some sales in the
Mm.
audience. And sometimes that can be true. Don't get me wrong. I will sometimes do free gigs knowing I'm going to make money from the audience because it's my ideal customer avatar sitting in the audience.
Yes.
But I also shudder to think at all those times that I would speak at a conference where the conference organizers were making so much money from me being a draw card, and I
Yeah.
didn't charge at all. And in fact, when you think about the time and money involved, if, you know, I'm based in Newcastle, New South Wales, I'd often go down to Sydney. It's a whole day out of my business. I pay for parking, for fuel. And I'm an extrovert, I'm usually completely zapped of energy the next day. The day before, I'm prepping for it. So it's a couple of days out of my business. And when you think about it like that, I'm actually losing money. And I think it's important, if you're listening to this now, to really back yourself from this moment on, and not, well, charge your worth rather than speak for free.
That's such a valuable point, because I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people don't think about that, think what they have in their expertise is of high value. But one of the things I remember a while ago, one of my mentors said to me was that, think about it like this: how many conferences did you pay to go to learn what you know? How many books did you read? How much did you invest in personal development in yourself to learn that? How many years did you go to university to learn that? And how much did you pay to go to all of these things? When you start to wrap it all up and you look at all these expertise that you actually have, and the investment of your time, your money, your energy to get that knowledge, you can't give that away for free. That is of value to somebody who doesn't know that. And it's usually that, if you know that 10% more than someone else, then that's of value,
Yeah, absolutely. You absolutely hit the nail on the head there. And I just think the more people that can realize that, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing I was going to say, do you find that there's a lot more female speaking gigs available for women to step up into? Because I know that you do see a lot of men on the stages, but there's a lot of more women coming through now. But do you find there's a lot more, the space out there for the women keynote speakers to come through?
Yeah, absolutely. I do. And that's because we're seeing so many more amazing women entrepreneur groups, amazing entrepreneurs really coming through. I think there's a couple of reasons behind the fact that you see more men. It's because they back themselves better than us. Even when they go for a job, there might be 10 pieces of criteria. And as women, we think, oh, I can't do 8, 9, and 10, so I won't apply. Men will look at it and think, well, I can do 1, 2, and 3, so I'll apply.
Yes.
So men back themselves better than women,
Yeah.
just in life, is what I
Yeah.
find. I do have a lot of men coming through my pay to speak course as well. It used to be 50-50, but these days a lot more women, almost like 80% women now.
That's awesome.
It's really cool. And there are a lot of women in business groups now who want inspiring females to be their speakers, International Women's Day speakers, all that sort of thing. So I think that the more we're seeing of women come through as keynote speakers, the more we're wanting of that, and the more audiences that are being created to cater for those incredible speakers. So absolutely, now more than ever, we're seeing more incredible female speakers.
That's great. And there's, like you said, there's so many different categories that people can fit into as well. So you can have the inspirational speakers, and then you can have informative speakers, educational speakers. There's lots of different categories that people can fall into. Tell me, what do you think with the communication and the public speaking and the, communicating well and being an effective communicator, that it doesn't just help you in business, it just also helps you in your daily life? Like, do you think, like, in relationships, being able to communicate well in your relationship, not only with your partner, but your family, and especially your children? So just having these communication skills to be able to, do you find that people are needing some of those just to communicate well to I mean, it's nothing worse than trying to, be in a relationship and not being able to get your point of view across, or not being able to, get anywhere. It's almost like, banging your head against a brick wall. But if you can communicate your point of view effectively, it helps in so many different areas in your life, not just in business, but in relationships as well. All relationships.
Absolutely. Oh, it's such a good question. Absolutely. I mean, he or she who puts his point of view across the best wins. And that's
Yeah.
in every aspect of life. And having worked with politicians, having been a politician, I have seen many, not just politicians, even senior military officers walk into a room having no idea about the topic, no idea about the background, who's going to be in the audience, and they absolutely command the room and have, people eating out of their hands type thing. It's really incredible to see, because they are an amazing storyteller. They're amazing at getting the message across, no matter what question is thrown at them, and vice versa. And so I think that there's a lot of merit in that. And it's the same with really mastering your message with your ideal customer. Your ideal audience member could be your child. So let's just say getting your child to clean their room. I have like some strategies where I talk about statement, evidence, explanation. So you make a statement such as, let's go and clean your room. Evidence. Remember the last time you cleaned your room and how amazing it felt to be able to find all your toys easily. And then concluding statement, why don't we make a start together? So just following something like that, and just really thinking about your target audience and being able to communicate effectively with them is very powerful. Whether you're in a meeting and you're speaking to your boss, you're speaking to your peers, speaking to your subordinates, whether you're trying to pitch to a client, being able to really master the message and get across the who, what, when, where, why, and how really succinctly is really the secret to life, I think.
Yeah, I
Being
agree.
able to be persuasive and get what you want.
What was that? Statement, evidence, and
Explanation, or a concluding
explanation.
statement. Yeah.
Statement, evidence, and explanation. I think I'll use that on my 17-year-old son this weekend to get him to clean his bedroom. See how I go with that one.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for that. So, as a woman in business, because you've been in business a long time and you've been around business for a long time, what would you say has been your biggest lesson or challenge that you've had to face, or something that you've overcome that could help a lot of other women in business as well?
Goodness, a couple of so many. Could write a book about
Yeah,
lists,
I know.
I mean, hiring the wrong people, definitely.
Sure.
I think I hired too quickly, and I
Yeah.
hired the wrong people. We've all done that, I
Yes.
think.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and now I have a really good VA who has been with me now for almost 3 years, actually, almost 3 years. And so that's incredible, and she sort of started from the ground up, and I should have done that sooner rather than trying to hire people who were the wrong people. The other thing I didn't do until later in the piece was invest in education, such as masterminds. I was in Business Blueprint, which you are as well, but I think, I didn't invest in other coaches like Sarah Cordner and Tina Tower. I mean, their programs and paid them for coaching. I didn't
Yeah.
do that. I should have done that way earlier so I could make
Right.
shortcuts and not make expensive mistakes.
Yes.
I think that I should have done that sooner. And it's something I very much value in learning from others who are really at the forefront of the industry, especially in online courses and online memberships, and just learning from them and what works and watching them. I should have done that like many, many years ago, whereas I only really started doing that just sort of under 3 years ago now. And I could have made a lot more money more quickly, and probably much more money today if I had have done that, I don't know, 10 years ago. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Really
Fast
sort
track
out
everything
these.
for you.
Yeah, just sort of identified these women rather than just following them along, listening to their podcasts, watching their free videos, free content for many years before I made the plunge. I
Yeah.
should have just made the plunge sooner, but of course, you don't know at the time, do you? I now know that. But
No, I
at
know.
the time, I was like, oh, it's expensive to invest in this program, and I'm
Mm.
not going to see a return on investment. And I now know the return on investment is there. And it's the
Yes.
same with my PR club members, my students in my course, they're getting the return on investment. And so I think if I learned that much more earlier on in my business journey, I would have been much more successful, much more quickly.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that, because I feel I've been like that too. And I think sometimes you think that you know it all and that you can, you work it out yourself. But I think, yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes if you just bite the bullet, you invest that money, you get the right people around you, get the right advice, and then you can just move forward so much quicker. and fast forward it, because ultimately at the end of the day, the whole reason why you go into business is to make a profit. And if you can fast track that result and make the profit, and then it just pays off what you've already invested, and then you get to everything after that, you're making money. But I think, if you really look at some of the best these days, that they invest, many, many tens of thousands of dollars to be part of these mastermind groups all around the world. But, at the end of the day, it's going to pay them significantly more for the investment that they've made.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree.
Yeah. Now, tell me a little bit about your PR club, Jaimie. Explain a little bit about what you do there, and what's involved, and how can people get involved with that?
Yeah, so it's actually open all the time, and it's kind of now turned into what's a back end membership. So I've got
Right.
about 75 members, which about half of them have come from my paid to speak course. And every
Right.
single month, people get live coaching with me. I have guest experts that come in, and it's all about boosting your profile. So we cover everything from how to get corporate clients to how to master your social media. This month, we're all about Canva, so shortcuts with Canva.
Right.
Last month was podcasting and VAs, all that sort of thing about boosting your profile. And we dive deep into a different topic, but it's PR and marketing related specifically. So not everyone is an online course creator. In fact, not even half would be. They're business owners. There's podiatrists, physios, chiropractors, osteos, accountants, leadership coaches, HR people,
Right.
GPs. There's a sort of a subject matter expert almost for every industry, and it's all about teaching them how to shortcut the system and just promote themselves, how to write a media release, how to pitch the media. I give my PR club members everything. So I literally give them my back end. They get contacts in the media, they get templates, they get checklists, they get Trello boards. I really am an open book. Even I won Online Business of the Year at the Australian Small Business Women's Champion Awards last year. I gave all my PR club members my actual submission. People ask me for it, but I'm exclusively to my PR club members. So I really give them everything, and I'm really proud actually. So you can pay monthly, you can pay annually. I've just had every single one of my annual members. There's about 18 of them. All of them have renewed, like for a second year.
Right.
So that's really
saying something. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, when I talk about my PR client, sometimes I get emotional because these people, some of them are running multi-million-dollar businesses. Some of them are just starting out. It's a big range, but they are really incredible people. Like, I just think if I could just pick the most incredible people in their industries, I've got them in PR Club. And so it's really, really cool. And then when people can join, they get access to every single masterclass we've ever run, plus all the resources. I'm really proud of it.
So valuable.
Yeah. And so that's the difference. We have a private Facebook club group as well. People who do the course kind of do the course. They can sit on their merry way. If they want live access to me every single month, they join PR Club. And that's why it's a nice sort of back end membership when I say people come in from the course into PR Club rather than just jumping in. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, Jaimie. And I know that, people are attracted to you because you're such a high energy person, and you're absolutely right. The value that you give is amazing because, the fact that even just what you just said, the Australian Small Business Awards, you won that. Those criterias and those application forms can completely do your head in, and it stops people from even starting the application form. But those type of things, to be involved in that, to be a finalist, and even to win, which is like what you've done, which is amazing, completely, it gives you so much credibility, can transform your entire business, gets you out there. But the fact that you can have that template through what you've done I think that's invaluable. And so is a lot of the other content that you offer as well. But I just want to say thank you so much for being on here today, Jaimie. We've just learnt so much from you, and you really are an amazing woman out there doing incredible things. And I just wanted to ask, how can people find you? Because I know you've just had a launch. Tell me a little bit about how our guests can find you and our audience can find you and connect with you as well.
Yes, you can't miss me. Just Google Jaimie Abbott with 2 I's, Jaimie, 2 I's, and then 2 B's, 2 T's. you can't miss me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, my website. It's jaimieabbott.com or jaimieabbott.com.au. Connect with me at Jaimie Abbott on Instagram as well. All roads lead to me. You can't miss me. And you can join the waitlist for my next paid to speak course, which the doors will open in June. So June and November, I usually open them. Or if you want to check out PR Club, you just go to prclub.com.au. It's open all the time. And I'm sure you'll put the links to this in your show notes. But yeah, through my website, you can contact me direct, and I read every single email that comes my way as well.
Fabulous. Well, there we go. Thank you so much, Jaimie. We will definitely have all of Jaimie's links in the show notes so you can connect with her and possibly even go on her wait list for her pay to speak in June that will open up. I can tell you right now, it's helped me a lot, you know, with all my stuff that I'm putting out there, and her content is invaluable and you'll just get so much out of it. But thank you again so much for being here, Jaimie. And I'm sure the audience will absolutely love this and take away a lot of the things that you've been talking about. So thanks again. And thank you to the audience for being here today. I hope you enjoyed the Launch Your Second Act podcast, and I look forward to seeing you in the next podcast. Bye for now.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Like I've always said, there are so many podcasts out there that you can listen to, and the fact that you're here listening to this one, I am so grateful. So thank you so much. This podcast is all about taking center stage of your life in your second act. And your second act isn't a time to slow down. It's a call to action. It's your life and it's your rules. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate you. And if you think that anybody would benefit from this, please share and even tag me in at Angela Vassallo and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye for now.